Thank you, Anna Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, as announced by the Honourable Prime Minister, the Ministry of Economy will be rolling out a $10 million assistance package initially to support around 200,000 individuals affected by COVID-19 in the whole of Viti Levu. And this is specifically targeted to those individuals in the informal sector and those who actually aren't getting any other form of assistance, in particular through FNPF and the government collaboration regarding unemployment benefits. And I also give a list of all other people who will not necessarily be eligible, because we want to be able to target those who are not getting any assistance. As highlighted in Parliament today, the reason why we're targeting all of Viti Levu is because quite a lot of people outside of the containment zones have actually been affected also. So the example we use is that, for example, when Nandi Latoka was closed down and still is closed down until this weekend, the people who may be living in Ba who actually work in Latoka, but they have not been able to access the work. There are people who, for example, living in Singatoka who go and sell their produce in Nandi, and people, for example, in Naitasiri who come and sell their produce in Nosori, or people who live in Navua but come and work in Suva, Lemi, they cannot go to work because of the lockdown. So these are the people that we want to be able to target through this initiative. Just to capture what we did previously was that when we did roll out this particular initiative of $90 through M-Pesa and MyCash, we had in fact disbursed about $10.6 million to over 118,000 recipients in the Nandi Latoka and then what was called the Lami, Suva, Nosori or Nasinu, Nosori lockdown areas. This time around, the amount is $50 as opposed to $90. However, the difference being that this time around, the $50 can be applied for by individuals. The $90 was for households. So you got $90 per household. Now you get $50 per individual. So you can actually have a household in which you may have 5 individuals over the age of 18. They'll all be eligible for $50. In other words, that household overall will get $250. Now, with the rollout of this assistance, we've seen we're now developing a very good database of actually ascertaining those people who are in fact in the informal sector. Many times you talk about the informal sector without necessarily knowing. A lot of people aren't actually registered. There are some people, for example, who may be selling pineapple by the roadside. They have not registered a business name. They don't have a TIN number. They certainly have a voter ID number, but they in fact live on this particular income by selling pineapples, say for example by the roadside. So by them applying and giving us all the information, we're able to develop a very good database and be able to know, okay, this is how many people are in this particular sector. Do you mind closing the door, please? That's disturbing. Now, what we are doing also, by using the M-Pesa and MyCash platforms, we are developing also a lot of people who have now come into the digital space. They're now accessing funds. They're able to also go and then get funds through their MyCash and M-Pesa. They can go to shops. They're using QR codes. And in a way, a lot of people are learning about the digital space itself. The $50 assistance begins at 3 p.m. this afternoon. And it's applicable to all those Fijians over the age of 18 and over, I should say, in Viti Levu. You dial *161# and essentially you are able to then, you get the text platform, you fill out the details. We need your name, we need your date of birth, we need your voter ID card number. If you have a TIN number, please put that in. If you have an FNPF number, please put that in, and most certainly you need to put in your home address. Just to contextualize it, the last time when we rolled out the $90, there were 20,000 Fijians who applied, but they were already getting FNPF assistance. So they tried to double dip. But what they did was, they thought they could get around it. They did not put in the FNPF number. They simply put in a name, they put in a phone number, they did not put in the FNPF number. I would urge all those Fijians, please, please don't try and rip off the system. If you are getting assistance, please also understand that there are those Fijians who currently aren't getting assistance. We do want to be able to help them. If the measures remain in place, we need to provide another round of assistance. But we need that assistance to go to the right people, not people trying to rip off the system. So please try and understand that. And we have now become a lot more generous in the sense that it's $50 per individual. And so we have, as we know, we have large families in Fiji, and we can have a lot more individuals in one household actually getting direct assistance themselves. Now, those people who won't qualify, of course, are those people, for example, who are civil servants. The civil servants don't qualify. We've had some civil servants who actually tried to apply. They have not had a pay cut. They're still getting full salary. Those individuals in the formal sector who are already receiving assistance. Some are getting $220 a fortnight. Others are getting the reduced hours benefit. And of course, there are those who, included in the phase 2, are those people who, for example, have received the $220 one-off payment, and as announced by the Honourable Prime Minister, they'll get another 2 lots of $220. In other words, they'll get another $440 in terms of their assistance. Of course, those people who are in full-time employment won't be eligible for this $50 because you're employed. And most of you journalists, you are employed full-time. Please don't apply for it. You're depriving somebody who actually deserves it. Of course, those people who are receiving, the FNPF pension scheme, those people already receiving the TELS scholarship, the TELS and the scholarship allowances. Whilst universities have not necessarily been fully open, those TELS students, those topper students continue to get their allowances paid. Their living expenses are paid. So they also should not apply for it. And of course, people who are receiving social welfare, they already are getting the social welfare. And those amounts have been allocated. And also there is a group of people who are government pensioners. It does not apply, of course, to those below the age of 18, to children. Now, please, it is important, and we found the last time that a lot of people started applying beforehand. We're already getting a lot of queries. We said, please apply when it opens up. It's opening at 3 p.m. this afternoon. If you've applied before 3 p.m., it's not registered. Some people phone in and say, oh, it's not registering. Yes, it's not registering, but it has not opened yet. It commences at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Please also have your information handy beforehand. As I've announced, what is the information required? Because you have a particular period of time within which you need to fill out your details. You have 3 minutes to fill it out. If you take longer than that, then of course you'll have to reapply. And just because you filled out half the form doesn't mean it's going to get processed. Now, the other thing we want to also highlight is that because we have to verify, unfortunately, because the people still try to, bypass the system, the Ministry of Economy team actually has to verify each and every single application. As we said the last time, we had 20,000 people who applied who weren't eligible, but they still tried to bypass the system. So when somebody applies through their phone, we're able to see whether they're, first of all, a genuine individual, they're actually a natural person. Secondly, whether they actually are on a benefit or not. So we have to check with FNPF. And a lot of people who last time tried to bypass the system, they did not fill out their FNPF number, but we were able to know that they're receiving the benefits through their mobile phones. So we actually have to check that. Unfortunately, if everybody was honest enough, we would not have to go through that, and the processing time won't be as long as it's going to take. So what we are saying to everybody, the moment you apply, and the applications open 3 o'clock today, it will close on Friday, this Friday in the evening. Now, but please give us at least 5 working days to have that processed. It can come sooner than that. But the maximum time we're saying is give us please 5 working days because we have to verify our records. We of course are working with our partners, Vodafone, Digicel, FRCS, who we have to verify with, Fijian National Provident Fund, the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Board, Ministry of Women, Children, and Poverty Alleviation to verify and process the applications. You can, of course, once you get the money in your money wallets, as they call it, in your M-Pesa or MyCash, you can go and cash it. You can directly go and use that money to purchase things directly. I have to tell you, last time we received a few phone calls, quite a few phone calls of people complaining to us saying that we know that that individual has got $90, they've cashed it and they're buying alcohol. We of course can't stop people from doing that, but we hope they're not going to do that. A lot of people phoned in and said, look, we know that what is being done is very genuine, direct assistance, but there are people buying, cigarettes, alcohol, etc., or yangona just to cash it. We can't actually hold your hand all the time. It's up to your personal responsibility. We are providing you the assistance. You need to put it to good use for yourself and your families. And the other thing that I also wanted to highlight before I open up for any questions is that we really want to get the best data and information so we can help those people who are really in need. Because we know that there are some people, because they are in the informal sector, because they have not received any assistance, and because they have, as a result of history, or because of where they live, or because of the level of education, they have always been engaged in the informal sector. So we want to help those people directly, and we want to work with them, and I urge everybody that is going to apply, please be a genuine applicant. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Mr. AG, my question is on what you had mentioned about that not only, that the assistance is not targeted to one household, but to individuals or a number of individuals from any household that apply from Indian household. So my question is, will there be a limit or a number put across by the Ministry of Economy from the number of households that could apply? Or is the Ministry of Economy going to accommodate for all or for any number that comes within from any household?
So we obviously won't be able to establish whether all of these people are from one household or not. It's very difficult to do that, as you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't forthcoming. So, if somebody puts down in their address, because not everywhere in Fiji has got a specific street address. So I could apply and say that, this is my mobile phone number, this is my TIN number, my FNPF number, my voter ID number, and my address is Korovuto Nandi. Right. So there's no specific streets. There are some roads there off Korovuto. And then the person from the same household could do the same. And from Korovuto Nandi. We will check through the mobile phone, the individuals, they got the right names, and then we'll have to pay. So it's there's a particular level of trust, and there's also, we're trying to reduce the amount of time it will take for us to process it. And also the other way of looking at it is that sometimes obviously there's a huge disparity between the size of one household and another. You could be yourself, your wife, and 2 kids. The next door neighbor could be, yourself, your spouse, 5 kids, and 2 grandchildren, and a grandfather and grandmother. That's one household. Now, if you have that many adults, and obviously they need more food, there are more mouths to feed. So that way, in that way, we thought it's a lot more fairer system to be able to have individuals apply for it.
Thank you, sir. Just a clarification, maybe if you can tell us the $50 assistance, is it a one-off payment or individuals can apply for a couple of times?
No, but like I mentioned, is that we obviously, if there is going to be a need to extend it for another round, we can look at doing that. But we need to go the first round and see how we go through the process, how many people are genuine, whether it's targeted or not, and we need to clean out the data also. Obviously things can change. If the situation changes, a lot more people get back their jobs, then there's less need to do that. If, for example, some of the containment zones are lifted, then those people who are, like the example that I gave earlier on, who are now able to go back to work, then they've got a source of living. So it all depends on how the circumstances actually, roll out.
If a household, these 3 people who are eligible to apply to receive the assistance, and they only have one M-Pesa account, can they still apply through that account to get the assistance?
It's very easy to get another M-Pesa account, very easy to get another MyCash account. It's not rocket science. You can actually apply online. So if you've got phones, 3 different phones in the household, you can do that.
The last time the assistance was given out, people were queuing up, lining up, and this is a major risk in the spread of the virus. This time around, what would be your advice to the public?
Well, I think the good thing is the last time around, a lot more people who are going to receive the assistance are already registered. So you won't find a rush of people going out to register. But also a lot of people, I think, in Fiji don't necessarily like to register online. They want to physically go and do it into the office. I think a lot more people are learning to register online in the same way like you can register through your phone to register to get vaccinated. And you can do that. So, we find a lot more people are getting used to the technology so they can actually apply, through their phone to get registered for MyCash or M-Pesa. But I don't think you will see that flurry of people going out and queuing up because a lot of them already have the M-Pesa account or the MyCash account.
Just last question from me, because last time there was over 20,000 Fijians who abused the assistance. This time around, are you looking into, prosecuting some of them if there is a repetition?
Look, prosecution is not always the answer. I mean, what penalty do you want us to give them? You know what I mean? Unfortunately, hopefully, hopefully through this particular process, we can get rid of the dishonesty culture that prevails with some people. Those 20,000 people, the team was able to sieve out through the system. So they identified 20,000 people who were trying to rig the system. They weren't actually given the money. But I'm sure there were some who were given the money. Right? So normally when we roll out these initiatives, we have what we call, a risk factor, sometimes can be 20%, 10%, 15%. The lower the risk, the better it is. Because if we're going to roll out $10 million, for example, and if you have 200,000 people that may have got money that they shouldn't have, but the reality is that the rest of the people who got it were the deserving ones. So there's a risk factor that you have to factor in. And that's the way we look at it. So we hope that more and more people will actually become a lot more, vigilant. We've had people actually come, directly text us and say, we know that this family has done X, Y, Z. They're not eligible for it. So we'd like people to come forward to give us information so the team can actually, go back and say, okay, this person is not eligible for it.
Thank you, sir. Considering that the only way to get cash out from the M-Pesa and MyCash is to be physically present at these centers, is there ways that the ministry looking at providing easy access to these 1,000 more Fijians and not to crowd up into these spaces?
I couldn't hear the first part of your question. Given that, sorry?
Given that the only way Fijians are able to get their cash out from the M-Pesa is to be physically present at Vodafone and digital outlets, is the government looking at providing easy access to Fijians?
It's not only through the Vodafone or digital offices. There's certain shops that actually give you cash. There's certain shops, obviously, that you can purchase goods. So if you want the $50 to purchase groceries, there are many shops that you don't actually have to encash it, as they say. You simply go and buy your goods, and you scan your phone, they've got QR codes, and you pay for it, and you go away. You still have money left, and then you can use it somewhere else. There's some people who want to use it to pay for their electricity bill or their water bill. So that's the beauty about MyCash and M-Pesa, is that you have many payment platforms that you can use it for, and to pay many of the utilities and other expenses that you may have.
Thank you, sir. My question is on those in the rural areas. How will the ministry actually come in to assist them and ensure that they are also eligible for this assistance, since some of them are in the border area, especially for like Naitasiri? How would they actually come into Nusori, or will the ministry set up some sort of assistance that they can actually get this assistance from the ministry?
Well, those people who have the phones, they can obviously, star 161 hash and get the assistance. As I said, that they can also, of course, apply online if they don't have an account through their phones, and they get the account, whether it's MyCash, whether it's M-Pesa. So then they get their money into their accounts. The different mobile phone companies have different outlets throughout Viti Levu where they can go in and cash the money, or where they can purchase goods directly. I hope that answers your question. They don't necessarily have to cross the border to be able to get access to the $50. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, set. Naka, thank you.
Mention, to both the Digicel and Vodafone, those people outside the containment borders, they are not able, if there is no outlet for them to cash out. Are you going to diverse to go out into the community and provide some sort of assistance, maybe at the border?
Thank you. We did that last time as well at the Sawani border. Based on the demand, we had set up mobile teams that were there with the cash to disperse it. One of the misconceptions that also came up in the last round of distribution was that some of the customers thought that the money that they have received on the phones will expire. So we just need to clarify that if they have received that money is not going to expire. There's no expiry date. So they could also use it at a later stage. And as the Honorable Minister has highlighted, there's also no real need for them to physically go and withdraw that cash. There are many things that they can do with that money sitting on the phone. They can pay their bills. They can use QR Pay to purchase groceries, so on and so forth. And they can also transfer that money to someone else that could buy on their behalf and also deliver to them. Thank you.
Sorry, sir, can you just clarify if the $50 will also be part of the fees that Vodafone normally deducts?
So what's happened in this case, we have an agreement with Ministry of Economy where there will be no fees charged on this.
And maybe just one piece, last question from me. In regards to, for example, shop and save, like you do your shopping and you do the QR payment, and maybe you want to cash out. The last time some people at some outlets, they were not able to cash out. They were told that they can't cash out. Has this issue been resolved?
So that's to be resolved on a case-by-case basis. That depends on the float that the supermarket is carrying. So say, for example, all of a sudden, there's 2,000 people that come up into Shop and Save, and they do their shopping, they use the QR, and they also want to withdraw. So depending on what sort of float is available with the supermarkets, they will be able to accommodate those requests on a case-by-case basis. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. If there's no other questions, we now end this press conference. Thank you very much.